of the French Grand Prix. As just waiting for someone to load in, because the camera should hopefully switch to the front on view when that happens. Maybe. Yep, here we go. It's not the best of views. Are we going to get a better one? Not really. But it is lights out and away we go. And it looks as though Czech's had a brilliant start from P2. He's already alongside Brinny Boy, but he's had a really slow second phase of the start. But there is Bennett going to turn one, and he takes P2. Rixie as well around one. A Mercedes who goes very well. Sem as another in the background. It's going to be Rixie and Bunny side by side into 4, and it looks as though Rixie spun. Rixie has spun. I was going to say it looks as though position, but that might have been slightly through the benefit off in the background. It is Brindy Boy from a fast start in Bennett. Czech who's lost position as down into P4. Sem is P5. Dylan P6 who's had a pretty good start himself. Clock's not gained or lost anything in P7. Massey P8 and the racing points. Good starts from them. Lewis up to P and Jib Jab P10.
Yeah, I didn't really catch much of that instant from Riggsy, but yeah, he's obviously dropped down all the way to the back of the field. Still within the pack, which is good. But yeah, great start from Lewis. Not quite sure, but up 7 is a great start. Moving up is pretty nice for him. But yeah, Bennett got a grip, just couldn't find the outside. But yeah, up 2 for him as well. And Andy Boyd almost a second ahead already, as we've been so accustomed to the last couple of weeks. But clean on the whole off the start, lands in the pits, and of course Riggsy spun. But apart from sort of major incidents, as far as I could tell.
No, Brinny Boy already pulling away, as you're saying. He's got quite a bit more battery than Bennett. Bland's retired on the lap. Bennett is on substantial amount less battery than Brindy, and already over a second and a half away. Well, it has to be said, James, it's only the second lap as well. Rigsy's made a position on Guna, who I think has had a bit of a moment as well. He's dropped 7 seconds back off the rest of the field. As checked side of Bennett. Good move there from the Ferrari through in the back of the free. Check too much, but it's and Silly Bunny in the Mercedes is going to look down the inside. They're going to be going side by side here. This is going to be a tense moment, as it's quite an under. Bunny just pushing Bennett a little bit wide there, but he does get the move done. So the Mercedes driver up into P3 is concerned. A bit of a setback, but at least it wasn't too major. I know he's lost a lot of positions, but you know, he's still in the pack at least, so that's, I guess, a bit of a saving grace, although I'm sure he won't be best pleased about that, whether it was perhaps Bunny's fault or not. I'm not, but you know, he'll be annoyed either way, I think, his mistake or not. Czech looked as though he got a really good start, but then seemed to bog down in the second phase. I wonder if he got a bit of wheel spin, lost it on the traction a little bit. I'm not sure. It does look as though Bennett perhaps isn't quite be able to challenge the top 3, if not maybe some guys further back as well. His race is not quite there at the moment. He's almost press range of Silly Bunny. Silly Bunny, who's pushing his battery, trying to get past Czech, catch up to Brindy Boy though. He's on 90% near enough of his battery. That's twice as much as Czech, and he's nearly 2 seconds ahead of the James.
Yeah, he's just making it look easier, really. He's not really pushed his battery at all this lap. And yeah, the gap went down to about 1.6 in the first sector. And yeah, throughout that whole middle sector, he's tried to extend that gap again. Bunny now right on the back of Chelsea, so that could be where the fight is at the moment for P2. Bennett dropping off as well, so and Bennett extremely about 30%, so maybe not the ideal start for him, and Sem lurking behind now with 80% of his battery, and the battery's pretty crucial around here because of those long straights. You need the deployment to those overtakes done and to defend as well. So yeah, Bennett not looking like he's in a after what was another good start for him.
Yeah, talking to someone who's been using a lot of their battery as well. We've got Danny, who's been in single figures and is again now already. I mean, he is Connor, but he's used a lot of his batteries. Connor's made a mistake, and Danny's very ambitious and rather opportunistic, slides on through as Connor was going to turn in and had to turn back out of the corner as he saw the Red Bull sort of diving down the inside, but Danny has got the move done. Bunny is up past Czech as well and up into P2, and now Riggsy's going to be the next driver trying to challenge Connor, but it looks as though Connor's running some pretty nice straight line speed. Got some pretty nice straight line speed. So wing setup, but Riggsy's going to come back driver then in phase of this back straight, but again, look at that from Connor. The overspeed is ridiculous. He's going to try it down the inside on Danny. It's a good move from Connor. Trying to follow through. He's using it as well as Riggsy, but I think that's trying to make ground as he can't find a way past these guys. You'd imagine Riggsy is faster than him, but kind of irrelevant at this point when they're battling with one another and Riggsy is not able to join in the fun.
Yeah, Danny was far too kind there. Just sort of opening practice. Yeah, Connor took that invitation without any doubt, and yeah, back into P13. Bunny on check was just a simple move done before the braking zone, just using some of that battery that the Mercedes driver had saved up. But yeah, Brindy still was pretty much full battery to clear. Yeah, it just doesn't really look like anyone's going to be able to touch him again. But obviously, still early days, mistakes can happen, of course. But yeah, all going his way at the moment as Danny. So yeah,
Sam has
15. Chopping and changing.
I thought we were going to see another move from Lewis as he was right on the back of Massey, but Massey's still getting DRS off of clock, so that would have helped him defend from the racing point. The high flying racing point. I think he's gonna. Yeah, I thought he was gonna have a look there down the inside, Lewis, but oh, he might now. As Massey going a little bit wider than Lewis through the corner there. Had a little think about it, I think, did Lewis, but perhaps just thought better of it. Long way to go still, of course. But yeah, the field isn't really spreading either. The biggest gap in the top, in the top 15 is Connor to Taz, which is just a second and a half. So it's pretty close racing at the moment. As check this out, first driver to pick up a time penalty this evening with his third warning. I imagine, like you say, the bunny check move was relatively simple, perhaps partially because they know each other rather well, so they weren't going to do anything silly. As Lewis now has also got a time penalty. Yeah, it's mean to because they're your mate or whatever. You want to fight them a bit harder, have a point to prove. But other times it's like you know each other, you can work together, you're not going to do anything silly when you're fighting with one another, so perhaps it was one of those moments there. As now Jib Jab has closed right up to the back of his teammate, and he has got 90% of his battery, James, whereas Lewis is down below 30. I wonder if this is perhaps the sort of territory where the Racing Point team might want to be swapping their two drivers around, as Riggsy's now up past Connor as well.
Yeah, that was a move on the outside from Riggsy down into the sort of chicane to turn 8 and 9, but no, as you say, I think it's probably wise for Racing Point to swap their drivers around. I'm not sure if they'll be in communication. Yeah, Jib Jab with that significant battery advantage, it would be beneficial. But I think I think that Adam was done slowly.
Have a safety car, the first of the weren't that prevalent around here, but when you've got a car in the middle of the track like that, I think you've got to have one.
Might be
got hits. He'll be Predators is on the hards, so he's in a bit of a sticky situation with strategy.
Yeah, you might want to restart the stream. How expand it's really laggy, so it might be worth doing it now that the safety cars come out.
Alright, yes, I will do that then, and we'll get back in a second.
He's gone on to softs.
Hopefully when we get some viewers in, they can tell me if it's sorted it out or not. So then, yes, safety car on lap 6. I said earlier on that they weren't that common an occurrence around here, but like I say, when you've got a car in the middle of the track like that, you've got to bring one out. It only makes sense. Danny surprisingly went onto the softs, despite starting on the mediums. The hards can make it from here. I'd be shocked if we don't see all of those mediums runners into the pits and putting the hards on. I think they'll be missing a trick if they don't. It's a shame for Brindy Boy, who had a lot of his battery, I believe, still, and a big lead. Well, that's now been completely wiped out. As yeah, Brindy Boy comes in, Bunny comes in, Czech comes in, Sem comes in. I'm not sure if we had a pit lane guideline, did we, for this week, because they're all cutting it. Bennett is staying out, James.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
And everyone else is coming in.
Yeah, I'm not...
Literally everyone else is coming in. Rixie stays out as well.
I don't really get why they're doing that, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Czech's gone on to another set of mediums. And pretty much everyone else is going on to the hards. Massey's gone on to soft. Okay, we've got a few strange decisions there.
No.
So Czech's gone on to another set of mediums, so he would have to pit again.
Yeah, I don't think I'd
Massey's
be wanting
gone
to
on
do a
to
two-stop
soft.
here with the pit lane being so long.
So he's not making it to the end. We've got Guna on 7-lap old hards as well, so he'll have to probably be almost certainly well. And then we've got Riggsy and Bennett, who both stayed out. Now I can't understand why they stayed out, James.
No, I'm struggling to understand that decision as well, to be honest, because yeah,
one safety car's generally enough around here, isn't it?
I mean,
so the chances that there's going to be another.
I mean, the hards will be there'll be a stretch towards the end for sure, but I mean, it's got to be worth pitting. 30 seconds in the pit stop right there. Decision to stay out is a pretty strange one to me, because they're going to have to go on to the hards eventually, aren't they? But there's no way.
Medium soft.
No, there's
extend these mediums now.
There's no way they can do that.
Be sure, it's possible.
Well,
it's possible, sure.
Yeah, but even so, they're gonna be miles behind. They're not going back. No way.
Well, not without the help of at least at the minimum, the very minimum of VSC. I mean, they're gonna have to do another maybe. They're gonna have to 18, 19 before they can put on the softs anyway. As Rixie is now pitted. So I wonder if Rixie just didn't held up behind his teammate, which wouldn't have actually lost him anything, whereas now he's right at the back. So
yeah, I don't know.
Slightly missed it on that one. Oh, at least he's pitted. He's on. He doesn't have to pit again. He's got Predators and Danny both in front, who will have to make another stop, as will Massey, as will Czech. So that's 4 positions right there for Rixie. He's only got to make up 2 more then, and he'll be in the points, back into the points. But yeah, I don't think that, because he would be in around. Well, he'd be 14th, I think, if he had just pitted the lap prior. You know, I'll have to ask him about that one later, but he's got some good paces, Rixie. It's just, I guess, how quickly he'll be able to get through the field. Because I think they'll get to a point where if he does make up the positions, he'll eventually get someone who's on the same pace as him, and he can't get any further, which will probably be somewhere around the top 10. Unfortunately for him, because that's just kind of the nature of this division and how tight it is. There we go, I've got that one in. You can make a bingo out of the phrases I say every week, or a drinking game or something. So yeah, Bennett is going to be the one to take the restart, probably this lap as well, on the...
Oh, Guna's lost it behind the safety car.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's going on with that one? We've got Guna off.
He's now been disqualified for getting away.
Similar position to where he crashed in qualifying, and has now been disqualified.
I'm guessing.
I think we are going to have the safety car in this lap, as there's a big gap between Bennett and the safety car. Yeah, sorry, James.
No, I was just going to say, I think he must have just spun it, and then as he's trying to turn himself back round, obviously he's gone a bit too far in the wrong direction, and yes, and unfortunately disqualified him. But yeah, it looks like a safety car was coming. I don't think the stream either, so I'm not really too sure what was about that. So yeah, we'll try our best for the remainder of the race. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Bennett does here, won't it?
He didn't have the best of pace on the mediums compared to those around him anyway, but he is now on the mediums compared to those on the softs. But they're old mediums. And quick, as is Bunny, as is Sem. Czech then is going to have to try and make some progress relatively quickly on his fresh mediums, because he'll. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. But yeah, it's really kind of pedal to the metal now for Bennett to try and pull away, but I don't think he's going to be able to. as Brindy's already right on the gearbox of that Alfa Romeo, as the field is probably spread out now as it was before the safety car. Weirdly enough, as
here comes Brindy.
had the best of restarts, I don't think, and is already a little way off of Lewis. Let's see then, Brindy going for the move. Is he on Bennett? Brindy's probably used more battery in this half a lap as he had done in the whole of the first stint. And there we go, he is past Bennett, which is good. It's good for Brindy. He puts a car in between himself and Silly Bunny, which is the next car that's on the same strategy. So in the direct race, Sem and Czech battling out there in the background. See, Czech on his fresh mediums has managed to get his way past the McLaren, and now of Bunny, and nearly in the back Bunny as he got very close to the rear diffuser of the Mercedes car there, as Bunny's weaving around, probably trying to warm his tyres up a bit, as the hards don't warm up very nicely under the safety car, especially on a restart like that. Riggsy is past Danny, so despite being on 2 compound harder tyres than Danny, Riggsy has found his way past the Red Bull driver. So we'll keep an eye out on his progress, as we will everyone, as well as Czech now diving down the inside of Bunny into turn, hold the outside for, so it means just keep his nose ahead for now. And it looks as though Bunny's getting a fairly good run down the straight. He's weaving again, so I don't know if the tyres up now. Should be alright at this stage. Czech though down the inside gets another time penalty for his troubles, but he does find his way past the Mercedes of Silly Bunny. But I think Czech's really making a mountain out of a molehill with this one. Strategy error and 6 seconds of penalties already, which is a real shame because he's had some, well, he's shown some very promising pace, hasn't he, James?
Yeah, he has. I think, I'm not quite sure why Willie was fighting that so hard, because they're not really in the same race anymore.
Predators is off.
Oh,
Predators has spun.
no damage though, so I think he might have got away with that. But yeah, on those softs now, he'll probably be pitting for the hards maybe. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much his race over, isn't it? Unless there's another safety car. Czech probably going to get the move here into turn 1, I want to say, although he was completely out of ERS deployment, so yeah, he's not quite been able to do it.
Yeah, fastest lap from Brindy. He's basically got the gap back up to what it was anyway, and the nearest car that's on the same strategy is Bunny in P4, so it's actually bigger than it has been all race for Brindy, weirdly enough, as well. Bennett forced into a bit of a mistake there by Czech, who slides down the inside into 6th. So manages to get the move done earlier than the lap prior when he was challenging Bunny in a similar place. But now look at this, Bunny with the massive overspeed on both Bennett and Chet to get the done before the braking zone for turn 8. Great move there, great double move from Bunny. I think the Renaults have swapped round as Riggsy's passed Taz, but Taz has also lost out to Danny in the process. Liam has caught himself back up to the back of Lewis. Sem's now past Bennett as well, and it's kind of what we suggested might happen. Bennett just falling back as we've got Massey going very wide in the background there. He is on the softs, so he's got to try and make up some time as well, as he'll need to pit again himself. And then it's Clock in P7, so Clock's having a nice race, obviously helped out by that safety car coming out when it did. It meant that he was able to pit and get off of those soft compound tyres, so it couldn't really gone too much better, I don't think, for the Alfa Romeo driver. Clock also finds himself actually in a net P4, James, so pretty good going from him so far.
Yeah, it is. He's probably having his best race so far, you'd have to say. I don't think he's had a podium yet this season.
I don't think so, no.
No, as Massey was thinking about a move at the inside of Bennett. Yeah, he's really trying to make the most of those soft tyres before he will again and go on to another set of mediums, you should think. But yeah, Bennett, that strategy called hasn't really worked out for him at all, has it? He's just losing heaps of time as Massey gets past, and I should think he'll probably be moving aside soon to let his teammate through.
Yeah, I can't really understand it. I know kind of keep going on about it, but I mean, obviously it benefited Clock because it meant that Clock pitted and didn't get held up in the box. But mean, I don't think many people would sacrifice their own race for their teammate.
Yeah, there we go.
Especially
There's the
when
swap.
Bennett seems to be at least as fast as Clock. But there we go. Yeah, they do swap around in the FMAs. So I wonder if that was purely just Bennett's decision himself there to stay out. I don't know.
Well, he was the lead car,
You get
wasn't he?
these,
So
you
he
get
should
these, though,
have.
don't you? Just
Yeah.
a lapse of concentration or a bit of a bad call. I mean, it's not the end of the world. So Bennett does now pit and gets a 5-second penalty for his trouble. So things have probably from bad to worse for him. As I'll bump everyone up a position. So yeah, Brindy Boy now 2.7 seconds ahead of Bunny. Gap's not changed massively since Bunny got past Czech. So they seem to be relatively similar on pace. Although Brindy does have about 10 to 15% more battery than the Mercedes. And looks as though Czech might be putting Bunny under a bit of pressure. Although he's only got, well, he's got, what, 5% of his battery. Although I think he's still going to be able to get the move done regardless, as yes he has. So Czech now back ahead of Bunny. These two have been going at it for the last few laps and swapping positions, so it's kind of just allowing Brindy to just keep his own pace and pull away really, as the rest behind squabble for position.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what else that has done. That has allowed Sem to get right on the back of them. I think he was just about in the DRS before. But yeah, he's really sort of consolidating his position. That will be a podium plate, of course, once Czech makes his second stop. But yeah, Massey's not really made as much progress either as we thought he might on those softs. And Dylan,
Yeah, kind of
and
similar
Lewis
to Clock,
now,
wasn't it really?
yeah, Dylan, Lewis, Jib Jab, and Riggs sort of all in this battle with Clock for P6. Riggsy's actually had a good recovery after that earlier spin, making his way through the pack nicely. But yeah, there we go, Dylan making the move on Clock.
Yeah, like Clock had the softs at the start, didn't he? But he didn't really gain much on them. I think he has basically been P7 for most of the race. Has Clock, as he's now got Lewis as well for company right on the back of him. As you say, yeah, Riggsy definitely get himself back into the fight now in P10, right in the mix for this P6 position. As Lewis has got a good run on Clock, but not much battery at his disposal. And look at that, Clock pulling away down the straight with the aid of DRS from Dylan. As Lewis taking a big chunk out of turn 8 there. And again, we've got a fairly similar situation with the racing points, with Jib Jab having a lot more battery than his teammate, and he does go on through into senior curve, I do believe it is. It came to me only a few moments ago. I think that's the corner, so there we go. Past his teammate goes Jib Jab and up into P8.
Czech actually has closed the gap a little bit to Brindy. It was about Bunny was about 3.2 as Massey pits, but yeah, Bunny was about 3.2 beyond Brindy when Czech got past him again. So yeah, that gap's come down for the both of them now, as Massey, I should think, will be going on to mediums to the end,
mediums.
and Danny will be doing the same. Yep, so there you go. Czech will probably be wanting to pit in 3 or 4 laps, maybe, I want to say, and then.
Oh, Riggsy's past Lewis. Sorry, James.
Oh.
Kind of came out of nowhere, really. He somehow found his way ahead of the racing point. I kind of missed it. It just popped up on the screen there, as I didn't think he was going to be close enough for a move. Apologies for cutting you off.
Yeah, he's still right on the back of a net P5 now, really, isn't he? Which Clock will go into.
Look at that, 0 battery, 0% ERS. We've got Jib Jab and Clock battling out. The racing point driver having to look down the inside into turn 8. Not quite able to get the move done, but he's going to have the run through part of the back straight round the outside at turn 10. That's a great move there from Jib Jab, but it's not done yet. He's got to again go around the outside into 11, and he makes contact rear right to the front wing of the Alfa Romeo, and it disrupted Clock's balance. And it put him off his line, and it's allowed the Racing Point to scamper away a bit, and it's put Clock right into the clutches now of Riggsy, who's probably got to concentrate as much on overtaking as or on saving some battery as much as overtaking now, although he's still using it, rinsing as much as he can get out of it, as Czech really is pulling the gap down now. It hasn't really come down too much, tenth or so, but it's now down to under 2 seconds again, so he's getting about 7 tenths as Czech since getting past Bunny, and Bunny's almost out of DRS of the Ferrari driver as well.
No, Czech's definitely been making the most out of those mediums, for sure. But yeah, it's sort of leaving.
Clock getting loose. Right on the curb. But yeah, sorry, Racing's just got no battery to get the move done anyway, so a bit silly me cutting you off. Like I say though, that's kind of what I was saying. Although he's going to try it again round the outside, another driver trying to get around the outside of Clock into Senior, but not able to replicate the move that Jib Jab pulled. Although he's going to try it down the inside, is he? Into turn 11, not quite. Yeah, sorry James. Riggsy then just not quite able to get the move done. Really, like I say, should probably concentrate on saving up some battery, as you're not really going to be able to, well, it will be a hell of a lot more difficult to get past someone with no battery. As Jib Jab is pressurising the back of Dylan now as well, so this battle for P5 is really heating up.
I think Czech's tyres are starting to go off now, as Massey sits first lap of the race, quickly beaten by Danny on his fresh mediums for the pair of them. But yeah, I think Czech's tyres are starting to go off. He just sort of touched under the 2 second mark to Brindy, but then yeah, that's starting to go back up again. He's been on them for about the last 12 laps or so, I believe. But only 10 laps actually, and that's probably only about really, but under full racing conditions. But I mean, he's helped Bunny out quite a bit by doing this. He's helped his mate catch up to Brindy a bit. Yeah.
Well, Riggsy's trying it again down the inside. Whoa, what a move! He just seems to carry so much speed at such a tight angle through the corner, and he's got it done. I didn't think he was going to be able to. Riggsy was running overtake whilst having 0% ERS. What use that is, I don't know. But he somehow, despite having rather minimum battery at his disposal, he's managed to get himself up into P7. As do you think we're about to see a swap at the front with Bunny, James?
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before then. It could even be on the back straight in just a few corners time. Although having said that, Czech seems to have got a really nice exit out of turn 6, and he might just be out of reach for the Mercedes. Yeah, not even using the battery, so yeah, not quite this lap, but yeah, it's definitely coming.
Jib Jab having a look at Jib Jab. Again, Jib Jab kind of a little bit stuck, you might say, behind Dylan. They're on fairly similar battery as well. As yeah, as you say, James, Bunny not quite able to get past Czech. But it really is the top 4 in a world of their own. 5 seconds almost down the road from SLR Dylan, who's currently occupying P5. It will be P4 once Czech has made his pit stop, as he has failed to use the 2 compound of tyres thus far, so he will have to pit again for disqualified, and that will be by the game. The stewards won't even have to do that one.
I was expecting to stop there, to be honest. I'm a bit surprised he stayed out for another lap.
Stops should be good from now, shouldn't they?
Yeah, definitely fresh ones as well that he'll have gotten from the restart. So yeah, I'm a little surprised he's leaving it later, and this is probably not only compromising his own race, but also the two behind him as well, because that gap's starting to creep up again, boy. Both Bunny and Sem have quite a bit more battery than the Williams drivers, so it's kind of flipped on its head from the first stint, although the gap hasn't changed, which will be the main concern for them. I still think this is Brindy's to lose at the moment, although
It was Jib Jab.
I still feel like Bunny's
Down
got a bit of
inside
pace
Dylan.
that he can unlock if he can get past Check, which I think he might be about to do now, although he's still not using any battery, the Mercedes driver. Need to though.
Jib Jab's gone past Dylan James, but Dylan's coming straight back at him. Down the inside, they're going to be going side by side. There was a bit of contact made earlier on in the lap, and there might be again as they're going wheel to wheel there. Dylan muscling his way back past to maintain P5, and Riggs, he's trying to find an opportunity, I think, to get the move done. He's going to try it round the outside of Jib Jab. It's going to become the inside for turn 15, and he's going to get the traction down a bit better than Jib Jab, but they're going to be side by side. It's a drag race down into turn 1. Jib Jab's going to have the inside line as Riggsy's trying to find some space, and I think just squeezed Jib Jab a little bit, who got sent into a spin, and round he went.
See that one coming. The speed that they were closing in on Dylan, it was always going to be tricky for the three of them down into that first corner. But yeah, it all kind of happened so fast. It's kind of hard to tell really what happened.
Yeah, I think
but
Riggsy was probably just trying to find some space, wasn't he? Like he was probably wanting to brake late, and obviously didn't want to try and didn't want to hit the back of Dylan, so he was trying to have a clear run into the braking zone, and perhaps just drifting into Jib Jab's line. I don't know entirely who initiated the contact, but that's kind of what it looked like. Bunny again still right on the back of Chet, but just can't find a way through. Bunny, who still does have an outside chance at the win, especially if Brindy Boy picks up a penalty, but not able to get past the Ferrari still.
I really don't know what these two are doing, to be honest. Bunny should have overtaken him a couple of laps ago by now, and Czech should have pitted about 3 or 4 laps ago. Yeah,
there he is.
But yeah, probably too little too late for Bunny, to be honest. I mean, he's got a lot more battery now than what Brindy's got, but he's lost about 5-6 tenths just staying behind Czech for those couple of laps.
I think Riggsy might go for another move here. James down the inside into turn 1 on Dylan. Dylan way later though than the Renault, and he's going to keep hold of the position for now. Riggsy's going to try and get the switch back. This is now P4 as Czech has just pitted. Czech's come out P10.
Oh, not
not
again.
Quite P10 for softs, and it's happened again. Riggsy just sticks in, and he's stuck his nose in again on Liam and spun into his teammate, and he's got damage now, has Riggsy. Has his P8 and actually a net P6, I think, so Taz is having a fairly nice race. Yeah, unfortunate for Riggsy. I wonder if he'll pit again or be able to limp. Check on fresh softs should probably win relatively quickly, although Czech does have 6 seconds of penalties as well. Brindy Boy has lost about 4 tenths to Bunny after Bunny has been released from the back of Czech. So that kind of tells you everything you need to know about how much Bunny was being held up.
Yeah, he's used a lot of his battery though to close that gap down, and Sem's been able to stick with him and sort of save a bit. But yeah, just shows how bad that strategy call was from Czech, to be honest, to go on to that second set of mediums. Might not have been intentional, of course, but I mean, yeah, he's now got no chance of getting back up to where he was before, has he? Let's be real. He'll probably be looking at. Well, to be honest, I'd be surprised if he can get any higher than P9 where he is now. He's 10 seconds off the back of Taz, and those tyres are going to be pretty bad by the end of the race. But yeah, Brindy Boy still just doing what he needs to do. The gap's pretty comfortable. but looks to have crept up a bit again. Just be avoiding the warnings and the penalties in the last few laps. You should think Sam, I think, will be racy as well behind Bunny in a couple of laps time when he decides to have a go. But I think he's happy just sitting behind the Mercedes for a bit, and yeah, just waiting for an opportunity to pounce.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. Sem's had a pretty quiet afternoon, as far as Sem's races normally go anyway. Finds himself in P3, avoided all the ruckus that's been going on in front and behind of him, and is actually pressurising Bunny a little bit for this P2 spot. 8 seconds over, 8.5 nearly back to Bunny's teammate, that is Dylan, still currently occupying P4, and in fact the two drivers directly behind him both have time penalties to their name as well. Riggsy's race is all but done, I think, as I think unless anything major happens now, 3.5 laps, the top 10 will consist of those 10 drivers, not necessarily in the same order, but I think it should be those 10 drivers in the top 10, like I say, barring anything major, as Sem has now found his way past Silly Bunny and up into P2. Now Bunny's got 40% of his battery left, so I wonder if that was perhaps a little bit tactical from the Mercedes driver, just to try and force Sem into using some of his battery, stick onto the back of him, and then go for the move later on. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I think that might be what it is, because yeah, Bunny was struggling on the battery. Has just got past Liam as well. That was sort of what I was focusing on as you were talking there. That was on a straight down into the chicane of turn 8 and 9. But yeah, Liam had just dropped out of the DRS of
James. Could you give
Lewis.
That,
yeah, I have done that. And then Lewis now right on the back of Clock, practically pushing him around turn 15. Yeah, this race is not done by any stretch of the imagination. There'll be quite a few positions to be finalised in these last couple of laps, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd mentioned it, James, but Taz is having a pretty nice race. He's in P7. It's a net P5 as well at the moment for the Renault driver. So he's having a good showing. Kind of picked up almost from where Riggsy left off after his spin has Taz. And the rate that Dylan's going at, it seems as though everyone that's come across Dylan has kind of lost their way somehow, and he's somehow remained in that P4 position for, well, about the last 10 laps or so, as he's again being pressurised now, this time by Clock. It was first Jib Jab, then it was Riggsy, and now it's Clock. It seems that everyone that comes across Dylan ends up, unfortunately, dropping back, as Taz is now past Lewis as well, a position that he would have gained anyway. He's done it on track, and well, as far as Taz is concerned, I guess still has a chance at P4, does the Renault driver.
I think Bunny might just be leaving it to the last lap to go back past Sem. Although he probably could do it this lap and then use that battery advantage that he has to try and pull away. But yeah, Sem's actually managed to close in on Brindy, but he's gone to the head of this 2-car trio. As I say, that the gap's kind of constantly fluctuating from anywhere between about 2.4 and 2.8 seconds. But here comes Bunny. I think he's just going to settle in for one more lap and then go for it on the last lap.
Yeah, look at that.
I think the battle here is for P4 and P5 here. Taz
Sem's got basically no
battery, on the
James,
battery,
and Bunny's got about 30%, as Clock's now going for it round the outside of Dylan. This will actually help Taz out in a way, because it puts the car that he needs to overtake directly in front of him. Of course, he should get that position on Clock, as he has a time penalty, So this does make the battle for P4 slightly more interesting than it might have been only a few laps ago, as Taz is right on the back of Dylan, but Dylan also right on the back of the
I'll tell you the one thing we have forgotten to do. I've forgotten to ask for votes for driver of the day.
I'll get the position changes up in case that influences anyone's decision. Taz is in fact the biggest gainer, P11 up 11 from his starting position. Lewis as well has had a nice race, up 9. Penalty might move him back another position, but even so. And in fact Liam's had a good race as well. He will Sem's got a penalty, so there we go. I saw a penalty flash up towards the front of the field, and I was well worried for the sake of his race that it might have been Brindy Boy, because he's still commanded the race, not to the extent that he has done the last couple of weeks, but still commanded the race. But it is Sem with the penalty, so that should be Bunny then P2. Now then, is Taz going to be able to get Dylan? He's had a brilliant run out of turn 7, but look, he's just not quite got the battery to go for it. If he is going to go for it, it's going to be a bit of a dive. No, he's not going to try it. Rather have the P5 than spin out on the last. Another go here, but nah, look at that. Dylan got a good exit and has just pulled away, so that might just about be it. Check has made up a lot of ground, James, but as you say, P9 I think it will be at best for him. As I'm going to head over to Brindy Boy, but I fear Taz might go for a move and we'll miss it. But there we go then. Not quite as dominant as the last couple of weeks, but it is still another win for Brindy Boy. That's 3 in a row now. 3 pole positions in a row as well for Brindy Boy. Did he get pole? Yes, he got pole. Bunny comes home P2 with Sem in 3rd after picking up that penalty late on. Dylan does just about hold on to 4th. Taz comes home P5, that's up 12 from his starting position there. Clock comes home 6th, good drive from him. Liam with points. I'm sure he'll be pleased with that one. Up 5 from where he started
as well.
And 6 points and driver of the day as well, but that's things. So yeah, good result from him. Check 2 stopped P8 it was in the end, which is a shame because he had some good pace. He was promising in the early exchanges, just not quite able to do it. Taz gets the driver of the day from the game. Nothing against Taz, but that is generally just the driver who gains the most positions, regardless of how good their drive was. Although Taz did have, and perhaps given a couple more laps, maybe could have nicked P4 just at the end there. But purely hypothetical. Lewis had 9 seconds worth of penalties, unfortunately for him, and comes home P9. But still, after starting 16th, P9, couple of points could be worse for him. And Massey gets some more points to add on to last week's total, P10. Danny comes home P11, just missing out on his first point in SLR. Rigsy P12, 2 stops, 2 spins, and probably an unhappy Scotsman there in P12 for Rigsy. Bennett comes home 13th. Again, another bit of a mistake on the strategy from him, with Jib Jab 14th. Predators comes home 15th, a lap down after disconnecting late on. The 3 retirements from this race were SLR Guna, SLR Connor, and Bland, who retired after only 1 lap. But again, 3 in a row, a hat-trick for Brindy Boy. Like I say, not quite as dominant as the last couple of weeks, but still a comfortable victory. Nevertheless, 2.5 seconds the gap to Bunny in the end. Bunny back on the podium for the first time in a little while. Good result there from him. And Sem, still a P3 despite the penalty late on. Sure, he'll be kicking himself because of that, but a good result either way. Dylan comes home P4. Taz rounds out the top 5. Over to you, James.
Yeah, we've got the guys coming in now. Just remember to tick your boxes, please. Thank you, sweet, 'cause it's been another long stream. We will start with your 3rd place driver, SLR Sem. maybe not the result you were hoping for, with especially with the penalty late on. And yeah, you fancied your pace earlier on in the week, I know, but still, either way, a return to the podium for yourself. Yeah, just talk us through how your race went.
Well, I mean, it's kind of just, I guess, just playing it safe the whole race, especially with the hard tires, because I knew from lap 7 after seeing how my tire wear was in practice during the week that stretching the hards out from then was gonna be a real stretch, and they were on near 80%, so right near puncher territory, right at the end of the race. So that was so half of that was just trying to keep those in check. Qualifying, obviously, my banker put me provisional pole and then invalidated turn 1 on my final lap. It's annoying. I've been doing laps all week that probably would have been good enough for at least the front row. So a little annoyed, and that kind of just set me back a bit. I think kind of as you saw, like once me and Bunny got past Jack, I had quite good pace relative to Brindy. I heard from Bland who he retired because he put on a default setup. He was telling me kind of general ERS and penalty situation was, and he said Brindy was quite close to a penalty. So I imagine that's part of the reason why he was kind of easing off a bit, but still, still relatively happy to get a podium from recovery position, from my starting position. Like, I don't often have good recovery drives in the league. It's either just P1 or P2 or bust, really. So to recover from P6 to a podium, I'm very happy. I'm very happy about. Not too disheartened with the penalty because I got told Bunny's ERS situation was really high going into the last lap, so chances are it probably got me anyway. So it's not the end. It's not the end of the world. Plus, I mean, there was an incident first lap. I obviously saw ahead of me with Bunny and Riggsy. Might maybe get investigated. Who knows? But it's pointless to speculate. And of course, congratulations to Bunny.
Clutching at straws.
I mean, of course, congratulations to Bunny and Brindy anyway on their drives. Us three had really good pace the entire race. It was nice. It was nice to get out and just kind of have a relatively clean race up front after the last few weeks. So I'm happy.
Yeah, well done on a return to the podium, and it's another return to the podium for our man in P2. Silly Bunny, after a couple difficult weeks, I'm sure you'll be glad to have got yourself back onto the podium, albeit not on the top step.
Yeah, cheers. Feels like it's been forever, to be honest. Yeah, pretty much exactly what Sam said the whole time. It was a pivotal part of the race when I was just sort of using Czech when he was on his mediums because we were closing on Brindy quite a bit, but I wasn't sure when the crossover period was when I gained pace, and I think I left it maybe two laps too late to start pushing. And then, I mean, I'm pretty sure Brindy had 50% throttle the whole time. He's probably sandbagging as usual, but I mean, yeah, no, great pace from him. And yes, Sam as well. It was a nice little battle at the end, but then when you got the penalty, there was no real need for me to do anything drass or anything like that. But yeah, nice to be back on the podium, and 2-4 sorry for Mercedes, so pretty decent.
Alright then, well done on that result, and we will move on to your race winner. Third time in a row for Brindy boy. Yeah, I guess it couldn't be any better again, really, could it?
No, not at all. Really happy to have won. I didn't think I was going to win tonight. I knew Sam had some really good pace, and then start of the race I noticed that Bunny had really similar pace as well. So I thought if I could just sort of maintain the gap to them, then I would be able to stay ahead, which I managed to do. Obviously, the safety car on like lap 7 was a bit of a really know what to do, but luckily I had like a full lap to think about what I was going to do. Came in for hards, and then I think, like Sam said, it was a really big stretch to try and get those tyres all the way from like lap 7 to 27 is 20 laps when you're only supposed to do about like 15. So that was, I was lucky to get away with like not getting a puncture. I think all of us were, to be honest. The only thing I had in the back of my head as well was that all of us three were in the same boat, so we were all going to be sort of backing off a little bit. There wasn't going to be one of us that had like an insane tyre advantage. So for like the last 3 laps, I was kind of taking it a little bit easy, just making sure I didn't punish the tyres too much, and yeah, really happy to come away with the win. No bunny, I'm not sandbagging, and yeah,
Lies.
just
Lies.
I'm not. I promise you, I'm not.
Doing a pretty bad job if winning 3 races in a row.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's good to see Bunny and Sam on the podium as well. I know Bunny's had some really bad luck in the first part of the season. Sam as well. The past couple of races had some really bad luck, so it's nice to see them joining me on the podium.
Alright then, well done, and yeah, extending your championship lead. So another good job from yourself, and yeah, I think that will do it for the interviews this week, right?
Yeah, 3 in a row, hat-trick wins for Brindy Boy then, to round out the French Grand Prix in Division 1. We're back next week, the same time for Austria. Another track where we should see some good racing and a lot of overtaking again, and maybe some weather as well thrown into the mix. But that is all we've got time for this evening. Be sure to join us throughout the rest of the weekend, and then we will kick off Austria next week with the return of F2. But be sure to join us this time next week, same time, same place, hopefully same people as well, with James and I on the comms. So thank you all for watching, and good night.